Good morning, everyone. My name is Alan, and I come from a very far distant city from here. I am a final year student of the University of Greenwich, Vietnam Catholic campus. And I have a big aspiration to share with you guys about how well-being today is. Before we start, I'm going to take you back to 2 years ago. It was a time that I was sitting in a quiet cafe, just scrolling through my social media, but suddenly a feeling of disconnection appeared in my mind. It wasn't that I lacked the means to communicate because I had full of notifications, messages, and everything that related to social media floating on my screen. But something was missing, actually. Amidst the curated perfection of online lives, I feel the emptiness filling up every corner of my brain at that time. That was so ironic, right? Being so connected with the social media, but feeling profoundly alone in my heart. And that moment marks the beginning of my exploration into the well-being in this digital age. And the crisis that I concern is how could we reconnect with our true self in a constantly connected world. I spent hours for searching information that related to studies and frameworks that define what is true well-being. Most of them suppose that well-being refers to a state of being comfortable, healthy, or happy. It encompasses so many aspects, including physical, the mental, or even emotional. And actually, it's about balancing these areas. But you know what? In this modern age, the well-being has taken on so many new dimensions. The relentless stream of expectations, information, and comparison pulls at every fabric of our lives and making the pursuit of well-being feel more elusive than ever and ever before. So I wonder what does it mean to be truly well in today's world? It is about locking up. It is about just scrolling into the internet. It is about just balancing our mind or redefine something like meditation to find well. But before, I would give you a paradox. The technology was born to make our life easier, to bring us closer, but instead, it's actually doing the opposite. We are more informed, more updated, and honestly, we are more connected than ever with the support of social media. But actually, we are expected to be always on, always reachable, always posting. But the result is not as our prediction. The anxiety, burnout, and a growing sense of disconnection, not just from the world, but from our hearts. And at that time, I do believe that well-being in the digital age is not only about balancing our inner peace or things like that, but it's also about how could we shield them from the pervasive influences of the second world we're all living, the virtual world. We have talked a lot about well-being, about balance, about peace of mind, and everything. And there's the fact that so many people that always to achieve something in this most perfect state, its most perfect version that they want. And well-being is not an exception. But have you ever wondered that this so-called well-being that we often imagine about will actually exist? I think it's time that we have to face a hard truth that the well-being, the perfect well-being that we actually think about will never exist. It's just an illusion, I say. The reason why I suppose that is because we are not living in a safe. The life is a continuous flow of changes, the continuous flow of upheavals and challenges. So we cannot control everything. But the only thing that we can do is how to embrace it. As a people who always want to be a perfectionist, I have ever strived to have everything, both mentally and physically under control. But everything was actually hopeless to me, and I am still not a perfectionist right now. Thinking about this, life is not easy. Life is not a tranquil journey. It's fluctuated like a storm, a real storm. And in the storm of your life, you have to deal with so many problems. You have to confront to everything that could bring adverse impact on your life. And by the way, I have a question for you. What will you do when you have to deal with the storm of your own life? In my case, I would say that when a storm comes to my life, what I would do is definitely go cycling. Just like that. Like the man on the screen do. What I want to mention is about the optimism. You can see that the man on the screen just riding, just do cycling in front of the storm. It's actually that the optimism is the top priority that we have to get in that moment. Because when you cannot control the things happen around you, the only thing that you can do is just enjoy it and confront it as what we've got to do and we have to do. So, I do suppose that the well-being in this today world is not only about we have to find a solution, we have to find something to make our life more peaceful. But it's about how could we find peaceful, find the methods, find the reasons in the difficult circumstances. And the difficult circumstances will not never determine who you are. Will not never determine your destination, determine your fate, but your perspective on the case will do that. It will make the difference. Having said that, fighting for the perfect well-being is impossible. So, what could we do? What could the fragmented souls do to find healing in this constantly connected world? As I mentioned before, the vast majority of people tend to find about meditation as a safe haven because they found it closely connected and make them feel happy with their inner peace. But do we actually understand truly about meditation? Is this about just sitting still and do nothing about nothing? Thinking about nothing? Just like this? It's meditation, right? I know most of us thinking about that's the case, and I am not an exception. I suppose that in the past 2 years ago, I suppose that is the case, and I do believe that meditation just sitting still as long as possible and just think about and do not think about anything. It's about meditation, is my historical point of view, but now everything has changed. I do believe that is not the right thing. The reason why is because we are not monks. And we cannot sit still all day in meditation and do not do anything. It's actually unrealistic. And this perception has become overly performative in today's world. What I would tell you is about we are a regular person. We have to deal with there is so many demands of our own life. We have to devote our dedication for the sustainability of this society. So as I say, this is not unreal, and it needs to be changed right now. So what's the right thing about meditation? In the Buddhist culture of Thailand, there is a perception that meditation is not about sitting still. It's not about just staying in the only place and doing nothing. It's about living fully in the present, which means that we need to understand and recognize what we are doing. We have to be awareness about this. And along that moment, we would get the information, we would get the understanding about who we truly are, we get the values, and reconnecting with our true self. That's the case. And on the journey to finding well-being is actually easy. What I want to tell you aside meditation is about a facet that most of us could never heard before. I will show you that the intrapersonal intelligence. As you know, the development of technology in particular and science as a whole has given birth to many achievements that related to intelligence, and most of them that is prominent is artificial intelligence. But the modern nature has also given even more remarkable to our life is the intrapersonal intelligence. The interpersonal intelligence I want to mention here is not about a framework, technical term that is used in psychology. It's not actually that. What I want to mention is just simply about the ability to recognize and understand our thoughts, our feelings, and motivation. The one good thing that we need to set aside a few minutes a day to look for the self-reflection, to embrace the introspective insight, and we could gain it and motivate for a deeper understanding about ourselves. As a result, we get deeper self-awareness, which is very useful to help we understand more about our values, our strengths, weaknesses, and desires. And it's far more valuable many times than what we be. So please together, I think it's time that we have to have another view on well-being. It's time that we have to redefine what well-being is. People say that well-being is actually a destination, a state that can bring positive impacts and beneficiaries. But I want all of you could remember one thing even more important. This is, we need to find the reasons before we search for solutions, which means that we need to start the journey of looking inward, the journey of understanding who you are before you find some solution that could be vague, distant, belong to well-being, could never touch it. And along that journey, the values that we discover, the aspect we come to understand in order to reconnect with our true self will be actually more valuable than everything belongs to well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, stop searching for a version of yourself, but instead, let embrace the journey of imperfection, of searching for the perfect version of yourself, and make it perfect at your style, not perfect like well-being could be to your life. And accept all imperfection with it. Thank you so much for listening.